Hanse, I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News Daytime. The Carney government unveiled its first budget on Tuesday with big investments in defense, housing, and infrastructure, but not much in the way of new spending on Indigenous-specific priorities. APTN's Fraser Needham reports.
L'honorable ministre des Finances.
Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne's opening remarks to the House of Commons defined the 2025 budget as a transformational one.
This budget must be generational in its ambition and serve to shape our economy and our nation's future. Il n'y a pas de place pour le retrait, l'ambiguïté.
There is no place for withdrawal, ambiguity, or even standing still. Only for bold and swift action.
Bold and swift action is what is needed. To weather the storm of uncertainty, we will not lower ourselves, Mr. Speaker. Quite the opposite. We will raise them to catch the winds of economic change because we believe in Canada.
This fits with the theme of this year's budget, which is Canada Strong, and there are strong investments in certain areas. This includes $115 billion over 5 years for infrastructure, $110 billion over 5 years on increasing productivity and competitiveness, $30 billion over 5 years on defense and safety, and $25 billion over 5 years on housing. By the government's own measure, 75% of the budget is targeted toward responding to global economic shifts, including U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff threats. Indigenous people are mentioned only a handful of times in the Finance Minister's speech, and only in terms of their role in building Canada's economy.
And to do so, we will do that in a way that protects our future, that also protects our nature, and also protect our core values. Building a true partnership with Indigenous people whose stewardship and knowledge of the land continue to guide us today. Because we do not just build for ourselves. Because we do not build just for ourselves, we build for those who will follow us.
And likewise, there's only about $5.3 billion in new spending on Indigenous-specific priorities. This includes $2.3 billion over 5 years to address all First Nations infrastructure and water needs, $2 billion extra dollars for the Canada Infrastructure Bank to invest in Indigenous infrastructure, and $1 billion over 4 years as part of a new Arctic Infrastructure Fund. Perhaps most alarming for Indigenous stakeholders, there's no federal money targeted for First Nations education, Jordan's Principle, the Union Child First Initiative, or emergency response support beyond the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The government expects to save $60 billion over 5 years through what it calls a comprehensive expenditure review of the civil service. But funding at Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs and Indigenous Services is not expected to change during this time. The budget deficit is also expected to hit a whopping $78.3 billion in this fiscal year. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The family of a Martin Falls First Nation man murdered in Thunder Bay is making a public appeal for information on the 3rd anniversary of his death. 31-year-old Corey Boleski was found deceased at a Northside residence in November of 2022. Thunder Bay police are investigating the death as a homicide. The case remains unsolved, prompting Boleski's family to call on local police to step up their investigation. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
The mother of Corey Boleski made an emotional appeal this week for information that could assist police in their investigation into his death.
November 1st, 2022, Corey, my son, my baby, was murdered. Not only he died that day, but I also died. My life ended when Corey's life ended. We're requesting that the Thunder Bay Police Service Board would approve a reward to help Corey's murder investigation. And we, Corey's family, are requesting the Thunder Bay Police to put more officers and more resources into the investigation of my son's murder.
Martin Falls First Nation Chief Bruce Achneepanishkum says the community is supporting the family in any way it can.
I stand with Martin Falls Chief and Council to keep on supporting the family in any way we can. And we'll be reaching out to the family and to keep on asking them how we can support them.
The Anishinaabe Nation is also advocating for the Bolesky family.
We're going to apply pressure onto the Thunder Bay Police Services Board to approve a reward for Corey, and we'll continue to support the family in their efforts to get justice.
In a statement, the Thunder Bay Police Services Board says it is considering the request for a reward in order to support the investigation into Corey Bolesky's death. Meantime, police say they remain committed to the investigation and will provide monthly updates to the family as per their wishes. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Thunder Bay.
3 people in a Manitoba First Nation have been arrested after a police service vehicle was shot at earlier this week. On Monday morning at 4 a.m., a Manitoba First Nations police service vehicle attempted to stop a stolen vehicle on Lake Road in Sandy Bay First Nation. The vehicle instead took off down Lake Road, and one suspect began shooting at the police vehicle as it was in pursuit. At 7:30 a.m., the suspects left the area and the RCMP were called to assist in the search for the suspects. Then at 2 p.m., the vehicle was spotted on Provincial Road 278 by Reedy Creek, and the suspects tried to evade police again. However, a spike belt eventually brought the vehicle to a halt. The 21-year-old male driver, Damray Demaray, and 2 female passengers, 22-year-old Ambrio Bolio and 35-year-old Tanita Bolio, all from Sandy Bay First Nation, have all been arrested and charged with a number of firearm and theft charges. The investigation continues this week. The Manitoba First Nations Police Service has added 1 more First Nation to its list of communities it polices following a special ceremony over the weekend. The Fisher River Cree Nation and the Manitoba First Nations Police Service held a formal ceremony on Saturday to announce that MFNPS has become the new police service for the First Nation. Chief David Crate thanked the RCMP for their many years of service to the community. Fisher River Cree Nation is now the 12th First Nation community to be served by MFNPS. Fisher River also now becomes a member of the Dakota Ojibwe Tribal Council Police Commission. Fisher River Cree Nation is located about 200 kilometers north of Winnipeg. The Hunting Council of Littlebone First Nation in Saskatchewan is an initiative to feed the nation. Now that council has expanded, sharing their skills and traditions with the next generation, they're even donating some of their traditional meat in the city of Yorkton. CTV's Frugina DeClute has more.
After a successful community hunt, Littlebone First Nation is welcoming band members for some mouth-watering homemade delicacies.
We have processed moose sausage, we have processed elk patties, and then elk roast, elk steaks, elk stew chunks, elk ground burger.
He says they follow ethical practices during the hunt. For example, they only harvest 1 moose.
This year we took a few groups of young men out, and a lot of them were able to harvest their first animals, but a part of our tradition is their first animal is meant to be given away and shared.
Upholding the tradition fed the First Nation just outside of Yorkton.
We hunted, gathered, things like that, and for them to offer wild meat after so many years of us living off reserve, it's a blessing for my family so that they have a taste of their culture and identity and living off Mother Earth.
Other than the 3,500 pounds of game meat, the Hunting Council is also distributing bread, gravy, corn, and potatoes. Among the helpers is the mayor of Yorkton.
It's been quite rare that there's any involvement with the city and with the First Nation here, so when Cameron and I were able to link up, I just thought this was a wonderful opportunity for me to come out and show support from Yorkton to the First Nation here.
Through Yorkton schools, the Littlebone Hunting Council also teaches students how to process game, so the tradition can continue on for generations to come. Frugina DeClute, CTV News, Littlebone First Nation.
When we come back, we'll take you back to Listigouche in eastern Quebec for part 2 of Savannah Craig's drug story. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue airing a two-part series looking at how the Mi'kmaq community of Listagouche has been impacted by the fatal overdose of 18-year-old Savannah Metallic. In part one, we heard from Savannah's mother and how devastated she is from the loss of her daughter. In part two, our APTN reporter Savannah Craig shows us an insight into how community members would like to see this issue resolved and the challenges that come with it.
She didn't even get to live her life. I couldn't imagine, losing my daughter at that age. I would lose my mind. I don't know what I would do. It's just so sad. It really is sad. I just wish I could have been there. That's all. I really do. I wish that. Oh God.
Despite Celeste Barnaby's wishes, she can't bring Savannah back. Her daughter Angel was friends with Savannah. Celeste is a recovering addict of 11 years.
I was a functional addict. That's what they called it, a functional addict. I had food in my cupboard. I cooked supper every day. I did all that. I did everything a mom's supposed to do, right? But I was still using.
The hum of a sewing machine is part of her healing journey.
I'm doing a jingle dress shortly with for my daughter.
Growing up, Savannah was always around her home. Now, a photo of her remains on Celeste's fridge, along with others she lost to addiction.
Keep them so that I can remember them, that they're always in my heart. And I look at them and I tell them, I love you, Dad, or I love you, Sav, and, because I do miss them.
But she wants more done to stop the spread of drugs in the community.
There's a lot of crack, speed, fentanyl, Percocet, Oxy.
Celeste is looking to law enforcement to do more.
This is our brand new cell area.
Just last year, the Listagouche police moved to a new and improved building.
And we have 6 cells.
Despite the new building, the cops say they don't have enough officers.
Right now, for the entire territory, we're 2 on patrol, so we're only 2 on shift.
Corporal Camille Arbe says this affects stopping the flow of drugs into Listagouche.
We only have 1 investigator doing drugs-related investigation.
We have some empty cubicles. We need some staff.
That's criminal investigator Tyler McDonald. He says there are numerous hurdles in addressing drugs in Listagouche.
We have it coming that way in Quebec, this way in Quebec, that way in Campbellton. Both provinces have different court systems, different styles of policing, different police services. It's a lot of lines to cross.
For Michael Martin, reducing overdoses requires healing from trauma.
We always go back to the core of our addictions. It's not stemmed from alcohol or drugs. It's stemmed from historical trauma. They're taking that alcohol and they're taking that drug so they're not feeling the pain.
Mike is a knowledge keeper and addictions counselor at the Listagouche Community Social Services Directorate. A photo of Savannah hangs in his office.
Savannah, I worked with Savannah, and she taught me so much at her age. Her visions and her dreams that she didn't get to see. It's just sad.
Mike says her death is a pain the community deals with. He says it's a pain that needs to be healed from collectively.
We can talk about the problem day in and day out, but we never talk about the solution. This is naloxone or Narcan.
For Mike, one of the solutions includes expanding the services he offers. He's opening a healing space that's rooted in tradition. The site will unveil to the public next spring.
When that's completed, we're going to be putting on the teachings, the sweat lodges, the drying of meat, the whatever people want to learn, whatever they're interested in, making rattles, making drums, making regalia, whatever they want, it's all going to be back there.
The site will open to the public next spring. Despite many departments working to alleviate overdoses in the community, some say these services don't work collectively.
The people that are above me in maybe the political realm, that they have things to do and it takes time for them. And for myself, I'm patient with that. I'm not going to say chief and consul or polices or anything because I don't know their mandate. And I don't want to know unless they'll come and invite me. What's going on?
We definitely need more than what's going on right now.
Some want this to change. Gary Metallic is a Mi'kmaq hereditary chief in Listgouche. He was also an addictions counselor in the 80s.
When we were part of the alcohol drug program, we had a networking system of the police, chief and counsel, all the social services networks that we had here, and we'd meet once a week to discuss on a certain issue. And I think that's got to be brought back.
For Celeste, one of the ways to reduce addiction starts at home. Her youngest daughter is turning 12 soon. This is the age Celeste has chosen to speak with her daughters about her own battle with addiction.
To me, I feel like it's up to you to break the cycle. If you want the help, you'll get the help.
Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Listgouche, Mi'kmaq First Nation.
We now want to tell you about this week's new web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, will bail and sentencing reform help lower the rate of violent crime? You can answer yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca to have your say. The question will be posted on the right-hand side of the home screen. Time now for a short break, but when we return, we'll tell you about the new short film called Guardian of the Land, a film that centers around Bigfoot. Stay with us. Walalan for staying with us. St. John's partly cloudy and 6, Charlottetown 9. Cartwright rain and 2, Happy Valley Goose Bay 5. Saguenay 8 and sunny. St. Jovite, showers and 5. Toronto 13, Sault Ste. Marie, rain and 4. 2 in Sioux Lookout, Thunder Bay, sunny and 6. Pukatawagan 0 and sunny. God's Lake -1. Gimli 3, Brandon 2. Regina -1, Saskatoon -1. -10 in Uranium City, Stony Rapids -11. Grand Prairie +1, Fort McMurray -1. 11 in Calgary, Edmonton 3. 11 in showers in Vancouver, Kamloops sunny and 11. -2 in Fort Nelson, Prince George 4 and cloudy. -10 in Old Crow, Mayo -4. -5 in Wrigley, Wati -9. Tuktoyaktuk -7, Palatuk -7. Chesterfield -4, Baker Lake -5. And Arctic Bay -14, Resolute, sunny and -15. He's best known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but for Indigenous people, the mythical creature is a revered relative, a spiritual being who teaches humans to respect and care for the land. Now, a new short film, Guardian of the Land, is showcasing how Sasquatch is many things and more, including a teacher who has many lessons we can learn if we take the time to listen and see the world through his eyes. Joining us to talk about Guardians of the Land is Emmy-nominated director Laurent Cachia. Laurent is a Warm Springs, Wasco Payet filmmaker and storyteller from the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, Oregon. Laurent Cachia, thanks so much for joining us. Laurent, how did this film come to be and what is it about?
Hey, so Guardian of the Land is a film about, Sasquatch perspectives. And, this film idea came to me from a producer at Oregon Public Broadcasting. I was doing an Indigenous films panel for the Bend Film Festival, and he told me there was this Sensing Sasquatch exhibit at the High Desert Museum, and which is also in Bend, Oregon. And he said that it was this awesome exhibit about, Bigfoot creations from the Native perspective, Indigenous perspectives. And he wanted to do kind of like a film follow-up to the exhibit. So when he approached me about it, I always thought, every Native person I know has a Bigfoot story. Every Native person I know, from all over the place, even from, Dene country, and I'm from Warm Springs, which is in Central Oregon. And so when I was approached to do this idea, I knew that I wanted to see a film that was from our perspective. And, we made a beautiful film with respect and in honor of our relative,
That's great to hear. Can you explain, why do Indigenous people have such a special connection to Sasquatch, and why do we view him as a relative?
Growing up, we take care of the land. We go hunting. We pick our first foods. We pick huckleberries and our roots. And so when we go out and we pick these foods, we don't take everything. We take what we need, and we leave some for the rest of our animal relatives. And Bigfoot has always been one of our animal relatives. We feel Bigfoot's presence when we're out on the land. And it's that connection of the land with our animal relatives is where we see Bigfoot as well. And I know I might be speaking for just maybe our region, but that's definitely what our beliefs are.
Yeah. And what do you hope people take away from this film when they see it?
So when they watch this film, I definitely want people to understand that Bigfoot might be closer to them than they realize. And Bigfoot is beyond more than just a physical entity. It's also a spiritual entity. And, everybody, like I said, every Native person I know has their own story. And I hope that this is the representation that they've been wanting to see in film with Bigfoot. It's great to have the Native perspective in the overall Bigfoot conversation.
I like the fact that you say that everyone that you know who's Indigenous has possibly seen Bigfoot. I'm from Cowessess First Nation in southern Saskatchewan, and we do have a lot of Bigfoot sightings there as well. Do you think we'll ever find Sasquatch?
I think an elder told me this. It was really special. They told me that, if you keep taking care of the land and respecting the land, that Bigfoot will show themselves to you. And that's why a lot of these, particularly mostly non-native people that go out and look for, trying to hunt Bigfoot and trying to capture the science of Bigfoot, they don't see Bigfoot in that way because they, I'm not saying they're disrespecting the land by any means, but I think it's the way that we have had these protocols and respect for the land for forever, since the beginning of time. So I think just having respect for the land and respect for animal relatives, Bigfoot will show themselves to us.
Finally, Laurent, where can people catch the film if they'd like to watch it?
It is currently broadcasting with Oregon Public Broadcasting. It's in the PBS app and also opb.org.
That's all the time we have for today. Laurent, thanks so much for talking to us. That was Laurent Cachia, director of the new short film Guardian of the Land.
Thank you.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Wednesday. We're back with more stories in a few hours for your evening newscast. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.